The leader of the bunch we all know well is finally back to kick some tail. Leading up to its release, Donkey Kong Bananza was promising to be the long-awaited return for the King of Swing, offering 3D platforming action across a brand new world. That first reveal had it all. Lots of exploration, quirky characters, and a dynamic moveset that looked incredibly fun to control. As the second major game to be released on Nintendo Switch 2 and the first brand new Donkey Kong game in over 10 years, Bananza had some pretty big shoes to fill. DK is working in a mine when the evil VoidCo, very destructively, steals all of the Banandium gems from the mine, resulting in DK being blasted away on a journey to the planet's core. Along the way, he'll team up with Pauline, a young girl previously captured by VoidCo and wants nothing more than to return to the surface. With the power of the Banandium root at the planet's core, their wishes can come true, so DK and Pauline find themselves in a race against VoidCo to see who can make it to the core first. The three monkeys of VoidCo, Poppy Kong, Grumpy Kong, and Void Kong, are some of the best new characters to join Nintendo's lineup in recent history, leaving a stronger impression than the other villains introduced in similar games. They've actually left me hoping they stick around for more than just this appearance. Matching the new DK design's expressiveness, there's a good mix of heartwarming and humorous interactions between the characters. Pauline is fully voiced in English, but the monkeys speak a sort of gibberish accompanied by captions. I absolutely love the sort of Sully and Boo type of relationship I saw between DK and Pauline throughout the entire adventure, and there were plenty of moments where I couldn't help but grin. This was especially the case during any time you decide to let the two rest, as there's opportunities for some fun banter from Pauline that made her all the more enjoyable.
Oh, my teeth! DK, you are awake? No more eating things off the ground for me. I'll leave that to you, DK.
Setting a young Pauline and DK as the stars of the story was a choice that may have seemed questionable in theory, but the execution proves why it's an idea that just works. One of the main gameplay features of Donkey Kong Bananza is the way you can just punch just about everything. So much of the terrain is destructible too, so if you're like me, you'll just be punching so often you're not even thinking about it. 99% of the time when I'm moving, I'm punching. As you venture further toward the planet's core, the terrain gets stronger. Some terrain has more strength than others and is a little more difficult to punch or not punchable at all, but you can pick up and throw just about anything with minimal restriction. Each level is also much larger than I had anticipated. It's kind of incredible how whenever I thought I had seen everything, there's a whole nother sublayer waiting to be explored. But no matter where I was punching until I hit something I couldn't break. Then I changed directions and punch some more. Progressing through the story, you follow a generally linear path as you venture down each layer. Sometimes I'd get lost within each layer as I explored every nook and cranny to try and find hidden bonus levels or bananas, but luckily you can get yourself on the right path at the push of a button, allowing Pauline to sing and reveal the way at any moment. It's not always straightforward, which is great as I'd often wander into a bonus room while on my way to the next level. There's so much to do that at a certain point I just kinda beelined it to the end of the story so it wouldn't be spoiled, but also so that there would still be plenty for me to do when I returned to the game after the credits rolled. In addition to the overarching 3D platforming areas in the form of layers, there are also a number of bonus areas and challenges that can be found. These are very reminiscent of those found in the 3D Mario games and range from tricky platforming levels to timed areas where you have to destroy a building or enemies as quickly as possible, and even some that are callbacks to DK's platforming history. I love that the game is constantly testing your platforming abilities and making sure you comprehend the new additions to your moveset as you grow stronger. The titular Bananza forms are the main gimmick that will affect how you move around the world. After helping certain animal elders, Pauline singing will unlock a new transformation for DK that changes him into another animal for a limited time and gives you new ways to traverse each layer. They're a fun replacement for the animal buddies typically found in Donkey Kong games, and they just feel right. Some of the transformations are better than others in most situations, but I really enjoyed trying different combinations of them to try and find solutions to puzzles that maybe the game didn't intend for. I enjoyed the trial and error over and over again with each of the Bananza forms, where maybe sometimes I would fall through the ground and that showed me that I'd need to switch to the faster form and run across the ground. And the Super Mario Odyssey influence is strong with this one, from the overall UI to the controls. Getting to know the way DK controls is a bit more complicated than understanding Mario in typical 3D platformers, but that's because there's a lot more depth to DK's moves here. Picking up the terrain around you adds so many more capabilities such as turf surfing or chunk jumping, and these different abilities can be manipulated to create a complicated moveset that allows for incredibly diverse traversal. This, combined with an ever-expansive skill tree, allows you to upgrade DK at your own pace whenever you collect enough Banandium gems. Using the skill tree, you're able to upgrade and unlock moves for DK such as more hearts, stronger punches, or buffs to each Bananza form. After every 5 bananas collected, the skill tree pops up, and it's from there you can spend a skill point to expand your arsenal. What I love about this experience is that it'll vary for everyone, and you're freely able to upgrade the abilities that you find the most useful. Whereas I'm upgrading my punches and heart capacity, others may be upgrading their Bananza forms. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of collectibles to find across each of the layers throughout the game. The main collectibles are the Banandium gems, large bananas that essentially serve as your stars or moons from Mario games. These can be found scattered as single bananas or in bunches, such as when you complete a boss battle, and every time you hear one, you hear and it never gets old. Other collectibles include Banandium chips, which can be exchanged for Banandium gems, gold, which can be used as currency at various shops and with NPCs, and fossils. You think you have an excess amount of gold, but trust me, you probably don't. You might have enough in the moment, but it only goes up from here. And fossils have 3 different rarities per layer and can be used to buy different outfits and colors for DK and Pauline. You can spend more fossils on upgrades for the outfits, and they each have a respective perk to help you along the way, such as making treasure easier to find or increasing your defense. I really enjoyed how each collectible feels like it has a purpose, and it's not just filler so that the game says it has something to do. It made me want to find as many of them as possible on my first playthrough, and I'm still so glad I have so many more to find during my post-game activities. It really adds to the overall experience and playtime within the game, which is great because it meant my journey wasn't over when the credits rolled. If you're artistically inclined, there's also the DK Artist mode. It's not hard to learn, but frankly I don't have the patience to try and create something elaborate. But it is fun to mess around with, and I've already seen so many creations already that are incredible. You sculpt a rock from a variety of preset patterns, and you can color it to create virtually anything you can think of. This makes use of the Switch 2's mouse controls, which continues to be very precise. The whole DK Artist mode is a classic example of Nintendo didn't have to, but I'm glad they did anyway. The graphics of Donkey Kong Bananza truly begin to shine the moment you start breaking everything. The voxel-style destructible elements give this world a sorta cartoonish style when you see everything broken, even if such destruction often comes at the expense of a stable frame rate. This game drops frames a lot, but overall it's a very beautiful game, and honestly I think it looks better in portable mode than compared to the TV. One of my favorite graphical design choices is how the 2D throwback stages look more like 3D reimaginings of the original SNES game, rather than the sort of new art style found in Country Returns and Tropical Freeze. It's also worth noting that this is Donkey Kong's first full game of his own, sporting the brand new appearance first seen in the 2023 Super Mario Bros. Movie, and I love it. I've already done a full video deep dive as to why this new design is so important, but this new layer of expressiveness really adds to the overall story. We can now more clearly see how DK is feeling or reacting to an event in game than we could before. The soundtrack is also one of Nintendo's finest, continuing a streak so far on Nintendo Switch 2. There are a lot of new tracks that enhance the environments you'll find yourself exploring, as well as boss battle themes that really highlight the zaniness of all these characters' personalities. The callbacks to iconic tracks throughout Donkey Kong's history are some of my favorite pieces of music in the game, and I'd often find myself sitting there without pressing any buttons just to listen to the new renditions of tracks I had already known and loved. Each Bananza form is also accompanied by a unique song performed by Pauline that usually fits the vibe of the animal transformation. Some of these are total earworms, and I'd be lying if I said there weren't moments where I'd activate the Bananza form just to let the timer run out and listen to the music for a bit. And in the least disrespectful way possible, it's so great that Pauline has more songs to be associated with that aren't just Jump Up Superstar. Donkey Kong Bananza is one of the most innovative 3D platformers I've ever played. Pun fully intended, this game rocks. As a huge fan of Donkey Kong for just about all of my life, finding the references to the games I've known and loved feels immensely satisfying. It's a fun game to come back to, and this may be one of my favorite platformers of all time. I'm really hoping this isn't the last we see of the world or the characters it introduced. No doubt about it, I think this is a must-have for every Switch 2 owner at the moment. When the world was expecting a plumber, Nintendo gave us a gorilla, and I couldn't be happier.